Hi everyone, so welcome to your 45-minute Pilates. We'll get started right away. We don't have too much time. My name is Gabby. I'm teaching for the InnoCare studio, virtual studio. So all we need for this class is our mats. We'll start today having a seat with our long legs. Your legs are going to come out in front of you. We're prioritizing getting the sit bones down and feeling the pelvis stacking in line with the ribs, in line with the shoulders, eventually the crown of your head. So if you can't get the legs super long without the knees bending, that's totally fine. We'll have the knees a little bit bent. So like in your yoga practice, we're prioritizing the breath, the length of your spine, and not so much the flexibility behind your legs. We'll start just with your fingertips on the ground. You can have your eyes closed or open. Centering yourself in the same way with any movement practice, just feeling that whole length of your spine. Here we're less relaxed, so more attention to the spine. We're gonna pull the ribs in like a corset and lift the belly button up. So like your belly button and the last rib are trying to meet, you can pull your sternum up a little bit higher and feel like you can inhale all the way, like energy coming out of your head, and exhale, making this little corset a little bit tighter. We'll start with a stretch, reaching the arms away from each other with the thumbs pointing up. Really simple stretch, stretch your arms away. Getting out of your bent elbows, get even the fingertips involved. So we're stretching the arms, opening up the chest, but keeping our abdomen tight. Just by belly in, pressing the sit bones and pushing out the crown of your head. And turn your thumbs to face down, little rotation of your arms, the pinky fingers face up. Notice if your arms came out, let's push them back. Like imagine you're pushing something with your palms. Big inhale through your nose, out of your nose, and squeeze your belly. Always an option in your Pilates to squeeze and breathe out of your mouth. I'll turn the palms, take the hands behind your head, more like at the base of your neck. Press your head back into your hands to extend the spine even more. Take a breath in. On your breath out, your right elbow goes towards your left knee. See if you can round the rib cage, round the spine to get that little touch of the elbow, and find the left elbow touching the knee, really, really rounding. Inhale, we open up that elbow, keep pressing down with the right arm and lifting yourself back up to this long, tall spine. Take a breath in. We'll do the other side. Allow rounding. So not so much of a stretch of the legs. We're squeezing the belly in. Left elbow touches the right knee. Open up the other side. Breathe in. Round and touch both elbows to your knee. Open up and come back up to a long spine. One more each side. Take a breath in. Breath out, belly curls in, rib cage pushes back, elbow touches one knee, other elbow touches the knee. Open up and all the way back, little twist at the top, realign. Last side, breathe in, breathe out, round, pull, cinch up the belly, elbow comes to your knee, other elbow comes down to your knee, open back up. And lift yourself back up. Relax your toes for a second. Rest your arms by your sides. Getting right back into it, flex your feet. Like the pinky toes are going straight up towards the ceiling. There's lots of action in your legs. We'll reach the arms straight out like you're holding something in between your arms. Let's get the wrists in line with the shoulders. Let's find that same pulling back of your rib cage, almost like you're going back to have a seat. And then allow the hips to push up. All really simple. We're rolling down all the way onto your backs, but going in steps. So I'll come forward to the top of my mat. Take a big breath in, breath out, squeeze the belly, round the rib cage, and hold like you're holding your hamstrings towards your bum. Little tuck under of the pelvis. Land the low back, land the middle back, land your ribs, land your shoulders, land your head. Thumbs touch the ground behind your head. Keep pressing down your rib cage for your breath in. Breath out, reach the arms over towards the ceiling, tuck the chin in towards your throat. So they always say like you're holding an apple or an orange underneath the chin. Press the ribs to get the shoulders to lift. Look at your toes. Squeeze the belly in to get the rib cage off of the mat, and we're going back up, rounding in the same way, pushing the hips forward. And this time we'll do a little fold over, like you can pass your toes. Let the forehead drop, maybe let your arms drop. And we'll go back down where we'll stay. So reach the arms forward, long, tall spine, round, pulling the belly back, keeping the legs strong, the feet flexed, without rushing. Squeeze and roll down, arms reach over your head. This time, interlace your fingers, point your toes, get really, really long on your mat. Nice, and release your arms by your sides. We'll bend your knees, take the soles of the feet to the mat. Widen your feet so they're about hip distance apart, and you can lift anything up and back down to get really comfortable on your mat. So from here, we'll do that kind of same action of the ribs pressing into the mat. We can't round as much. We have the gravity, we have the ground in our way. So squeeze the belly in. Imagine this is staying glued to the mat. So as soon as we forget, it'll just pop back out. It feels more like you're relaxing. The tailbone goes down, the ribs go up. Let's try as much as you can today in our practice. There's different ways to practice, but today in our practice, to keep these ribs like hooked to the ground. Include your shoulder blades. Keep that downward push of the torso. Once you have that, maybe you have a neutral pelvis. So without this pelvis spilling out, like going through your knees, or being too tight behind you, pelvis is really flat to the ground, ribs are pulled in. You can have your hands on your hip points. Take a breath in, push, like the middle of the chest is going into the mat. Breath out, let's bring one knee in towards your chest. So not too far in, we call it a tabletop leg, and tap the toes back down. Do the other one. Take an inhale first, settle your rib cage down, hands are on your hips, breath out, knee lifts into your chest. There will be some wobble back and forth on your pelvis, or maybe forward and back. We're trying as much as we can to avoid that. So take a breath in, breath out, we lift the knee. Breath in, touch the toes down. Breath out, lift the other one. We can start going a little faster, maybe having both feet in the air, touching one down, then the other one down. So noticing which parts of your ribs want to come off the mat and squeezing them back in. We'll make it a little bit harder. Reach the arms straight up overhead. And reach the arms so the thumbs are going back on a diagonal. Press the ribs down and continue to make your legs longer. So toes press further and further away from you as your ribs press down. You'll definitely feel this right underneath the ribs, maybe in the low belly. So let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, tapping the toes, and 1. Really nice. So give the belly a little bit of a break. Stretch your legs out long. We're going to cross the legs. So cross the left foot a little bit to the right side of your mat and the right foot on top of your left foot. So squeezing at the heels. Make sure your pelvis is still neutral, still in its spot, and the same thing with those ribs. You can have your hands by your sides. Keep the bottom leg flexed and pushing into the mat. We're going to point the toes on top, lift the leg as high as you can get it without the pelvis flopping to one side. So maybe that's only this high. And flex the foot and squeeze it back down. So we take toes pointed, leg up, flex your foot, and meet the heels back together. So maybe 1 or 2 you won't feel much, but keep going until you feel the inside of your leg and the bottom leg really working to keep you stable. So kind of a sneaky way to get this low belly engaged. Pointing the toes on the lift, make that leg strong and straight. flex the foot and push it down. We're gonna make it a little bit harder. If you need, you can have your hands on the ground. We're gonna point the toes just so the foot hovers above the bottom foot. We're going to kick out to the side. So what happens if I kick out to the side with a lot of force is my other side peels off the mat. We're trying to avoid that. So kick out to the side as you stamp down your standing leg, flex the foot, same thing, draw it back in, almost crossing in front of your bottom foot. Let's just do 4 more of those. Kicking out to the side, almost like an external rotation with that toe, flexing it and squeezing it back in, 2. So inhale, exhale. Last one, pointing the toes out to the side, flexing it and bringing it back in. And really simple, switch sides. So legs are long. One leg goes under, other leg goes on top. Crisscross at just the feet. Make your legs long and make yourself stable. Stable pelvis. Think of that low belly. You can think of some light or like a little fire in the pit of your belly. Press the bottom leg down and into the mat. It becomes stable. Point your toes, lift the leg up to the ceiling, flex the foot and squeeze it back down. You can imagine resistance on your way down. So not it's falling, but you're pushing or pulling, whatever you want to think of. Pointing the toes, lifting it up. Even here, we have our rib cage pressing, squeezing into the mat. It might take the load off of your legs. Oops, so a point up and a flex down, point up, flex down. You might notice really the difference between your sides. So this leg for me is a little bit weaker. Good. Now point the toes, hover them a little bit higher than your bottom leg. I know I'm gonna need my hands on my hips for this, just to give them that extra press down. Point the toes outwards. I'm not going too far away from my leg. Flex the foot and squeeze it back in. Point the toes, slight outward rotation, moving that leg out, flex the foot and bring it in. That's 2. Point the toes, flex it out. Squeeze it in. Point the toes, out they go. And back in. This whole other side is pressing down into the mat. Flex the foot, bring it back in. So nice, you have your legs crossed. Let's come onto your hands, a little roll up. You're gonna have your hands behind you. So either some people it's comfortable to have the hands facing forward, some it's a little bit outwards. We're leaning back, getting that little bend of the elbow and squeeze your belly. With your legs crossed, take a big breath in, lift your legs up, breath out. Inhale, they come down. So they're going from the mat all the way up, not hovering in the air. And breath in, breath out, soften the elbows, lift your legs up. Inhale, they come down. Exhale, they lift. Inhale, they come down. Exhale, they lift. Last one, breath in and breath out. Try switching them in the air, pointing the toes, flexing the feet and lift and bringing them back down to the mat. We'll do 5 more on this side. Use your hands, squeeze the belly, breath in, breath out, lift your legs. Inhale, they come back down to the mat, land soft. Exhale, they lift up. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Good. We'll come down, uncross your feet, soften your knees. Maybe grab the outsides of your feet and tuck your chin. Just catch your breath and widen that low back. So if you're feeling any irritation in your low back, go slower. And you can always bend your knees if you need. And we'll do something fun kind of in between. You have your feet on the mat. You're gonna have your hands underneath your hamstrings. So we're gonna practice just coming onto your tippy toes, pulling those ribs back. So the same kind of thing, we don't wanna be too up here. With our long spine, we're balancing on our sitting bones. We want to challenge a little bit. So lean back a little bit. Give your tippy toes on the ground and really scoop the hamstrings under. You're gonna lift the elbows. Your chest right now is close to your thighs, but the ribs are rounding. You take a big breath in. Use the power in your arms to lean back. See how far you can go. Maybe you can straighten your arms. Bend at the elbows and use your arms to pull the elbows wide and bring yourself back in. So using your own weight kind of to work the outsides of your arms. Lengthening the arms, leaning back. Maybe you can hold on to your tights. Bending the elbows wide and pulling your chest towards your thighs. So inhale brings you back, rounding. If you want more of a challenge, the legs are lifted. But if you're really using your arms, it might be too hard. So elbows wide, leaning back, and elbows opening up. Good. Walk the toes a little bit further away. Lean to the backs of the sitting bones to get the roundness in the spine and cinch the belly up. Reach your arms out in front of you until your palms are right at the top of your knees. So stretching the arms straight out. We're already leaning back, squeeze the belly in, we have a rounded spine. Take a breath in. Touch one knee to your hand without moving your hands. We're moving the knees, breath out. And we keep going. So leg comes down. Go somewhere that's challenging. If it's even further, then the knee is coming to just the fingertips. Tapping the knee just to the hand, lowering it down with that same control. Lifting the knee, tapping your palm, lowering it down. Lifting and lowering. Lifting and lowering. Lifting and lowering. Lifting, lowering. Nice. Now feet plant down, hold on to your hamstrings and roll yourself back up. So Pilates is fun because we kind of zip through things pretty quickly, but really efficient. And so we're getting stuff really heated up. So now we'll do that same kind of thing. We're gonna take our hands behind the hamstrings and bring the toes to the ground. We're gonna round. This is called rolling like a ball. So it's exactly what it sounds like. We take our inhale. So for our inhale, we're actually rolling back. I'm gonna do this slow motion. I might not be able to get up. And the exhale is when you push into the belly, roll back up. If you need to land on your toes, you can. Challenge is to not ever let the toes touch the ground. So let's go for it, and we'll go for 5, because sometimes the first one's a little bit easier. And it's like we're not using momentum, we're using the abdomen pulling in and pushing us forward and back. So hands underneath the hamstrings, legs can squeeze together, toes are pointed, toes are lifted. Look forward, so look in between your knees or at the top of your mat. Inhale, roll down. Exhale, come forward. You readjust. So that's 1, 2, inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. If you're wobbling, squeeze your low belly more. If you're turning, use your legs equally. Squeeze them together. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Really nice, a little bit of a challenge. If you can, tap your heels or take your hands on the inside of your knees, hold the outside of your ankles. Flex your feet, tap your heels 3 times. So 1, 2, 3, and roll back from here. Inhale, roll back. Exhale, come forward, tap your heels. 1, 2, 3. Inhale, roll back. Exhale, tap your heels. 1, 2, 3. One more. Inhale, roll back. Exhale, roll forward, tap your heels. 1, 2, 3. Good. Those are roll-ups and rolls down. We're all warmed up. We'll lean back onto our sitting bones, kind of into a V-sit. They call it a balance point in Pilates. So on your feet, you can always have your tippy toes down to the mat if you need. If not, if you want the challenge, we're lifting knees either parallel to the ground or you have your legs straight up. Pilates, we do kind of more of a diagonal leg. I'm gonna have them a little bit in between. So you're gonna reach your arms on the sides of your legs. Legs are squeezing together. Get that lean back in the chest. As much as your ribs go in, your arms reach forward. Push your knees to one of your palms so there is a little bit more weight on one of your sitting bones. Good. And reach your arm out to the side. Breathe in. Scoop it back in, back to center. Breathe out. Switch your sides. Inhale to the middle. Exhale. Arm reaches out. Breathe in. Squeeze it back to center. Breathe out. Knees go to the other side. A little faster. Open up the arm. Inhale. Switch. Exhale. Come back. Inhale. Exhale. Push. Inhale. Exhale, push. Hold on to your thighs. Feet come down. This time your feet can come together. Widen your knees. Hold on to your heels. Give yourself a little round, a little head tuck. That was some side body action. We'll kind of continue with that. Hold on to one of your knees. Bring the knee into your chest and roll back down. I'll move forward. We're gonna have the head down for this one. The middle of your head is down, the back of your rib is down. One knee's into your chest, you're holding onto your knee. And if you can, you're floating the other leg long, pointing the toes. If you need, the leg is down to the mat. If not, strengthen around the kneecap by pointing your toes. For this one, head stays down and ribs stay down. Take a big breath in. Exhale, switch your legs, continue to push the ribs down. Take an inhale. Exhale, switch your legs. It'll be easier if the leg is higher, so let's almost touch the ground with that leg. Point the toes. Take an inhale. Exhale, switch your legs. Take an inhale. Exhale, switch your legs. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Where we started on this side, so one more. Inhale. Exhale. Nice. Both knees come into your chest. Take your hands behind your head or your neck, whatever you want to think about. Chin comes in towards your throat. Press the ribs down, your head lifts like you're looking at your toes. Arms are pretty close in. We don't want them too wide. Just see your elbows in your peripheral. Lengthen one leg out. Take a breath in. Breath out. Left elbow goes to the right knee or whichever side you started. Inhale, back. Same side, same thing. Exhale, elbow goes towards the knee. Inhale. So 3. Going up to 5, 4, and 5. Switching right away. Knees into your chest, tuck the chin, press to lift as high as you can go. Lengthen one leg, take a big breath in. Breath out across, maybe you touch. Inhale back to center. Exhale across. Inhale back to center. Exhale across. Inhale. Exhale. Last one, breathe in. Nice, and breathe out. Both knees come in. Lengthen one leg. Hold your hamstring and point your toes up towards the ceiling, but give lots of resistance into this leg. And we just do a little point, flex, point, flex. Make a big circle with your foot one way. Circle with your foot the other way. Good. And round the spine, tuck the chin, keep your hands pressing against your leg, and come up, holding the leg and using the weight of your leg, maybe your toes are pointed, to pull yourself up. When you have your leg, lengthening your spine with the weight of your leg, so if it's down here, it's down here. And going back, moving the leg, squeezing the belly in and crawling your hands down your thigh. So do one more exercise here lying down. You have one long leg in the air. Find that neutral pelvis by squeezing your ribs down and strengthening your bottom leg. I like to have my hands just on my ribs to remind them they can be wherever you need them to be. We're making a circle with our leg. Point the toes, move the leg out without this other side lifting up, a little bit closer to the ground, doesn't have to be this low, and then up and back around. 3 one way, 3 the other way, so simple. So without rushing the parts of the circle that are more challenging. For me, it's moving out to the side. Good. And for the other way, let's flex the foot, straighten it out, push the heel down, across, and out. Use your glutes at the bottom. The other side. And going for 3. Nice, knee bends, kick the leg out. Do the other side, bend the other knee, hands behind your hamstring, point the toes straight up, pressing the hamstring into your hands and relaxing the neck and the shoulders. We'll flex the foot, point the toes, flex the foot, point the toes, and flex the foot, point the toes. Make a big circle with your ankle, one way and the other way. For your stretch, tuck the chin, crawl your hands up your leg. So same round rib cage, lifting yourself up. Use the pressure in your leg to come up high. And bow your head towards your shin. And we'll come back down. Using your hands, using the lever of your leg, round the spine, and rest back down. Keep this leg long, it's warmed up, it's ready. Hands at your hips, at your ribs, or by your sides. Take a breath in. We're going out to the side first. I need my hands down or pressing on my hip to the outside, low, without rushing over here, up and around. So whichever way you do, flex the foot the other way. When you get to your last 3 circles. Good, flex the foot, go across first and down and around and back up. It's almost easier to do this faster. If you really want to feel it, we're slowing it down. Nice, and around. Bend your knee in, your other knee in. You're gonna do something really challenging just to come up one time. You have your legs in this diagonal position. You have the heels touching and your legs squeezing together. Reach your arms towards your toes, tuck the chin. Try without moving your legs to come up until your arms are diagonal with your legs. Take a breath in, going back down from here. Don't move your legs, reach the arms up and over. So it's kind of the way we started. Take a big breath in, breath out, chin in, and we come up until your arms are diagonal. One more breath in, we roll down, reach the arms, and breath out. Good, knees bend. And we'll switch it up, we'll come onto our side. Oops. So choose whichever side. We'll have the legs long. We'll have one arm long and rest your head on your bicep. The important thing here is to have the pelvis, so your low back, in the same line as your ribs. I like to line everything up with the back of my mat. I'm gonna have for today, the bottom leg long, rest your ear, and try to have your top leg long. So for me, it's really hard to balance if I'm not pressing my ribs and pressing kind of the low hip. We want to feel a slight lift around the belly button. Take this hand out in front of you to help your balance. I'm doing something really simple, but the bottom leg today is pressing down. We often have the knee bent, which gives us more of a surface area to balance. We're having this leg long. Top leg is long. We're going to lift the leg as pretty much as high as you can go and lower it all the way back down. So if we want a point to lift, a flex to pull down, point to lift, flex to pull down, point to lift, Flex to pull down. Just a couple more. Okay, so we'll keep it flexed and we'll go kind of to our highest point and pulse up and down until you feel our glutes start to fire up. You're squeezing that low belly, keeping some space under the rib cage, but pressing this whole rib cage down. So pulsing up and down. And then we'll do our last one. We'll bend both of your knees. The heels will squeeze together. So not doing our clamshells where we just open and close. The heels are pressing together now. We're switching it up so the knees come together and the heel lifts back up. So doing so much action in your hip crease opens up, heels come together and you squeeze them. The knees come together, you're pulling the heel up. So opening it up, imagine resistance like you're pushing that leg back, the knees come together, squeezing it. Good. And use the top hand to press into the mat and walk yourself up just so the hand reaches onto the mat. Hand is still pretty far away from you. We don't want the hand underneath the shoulder. We want it far away on the diagonal. Now you can have your knees stacked and find somewhere that the shoulder and the hip are stacked on the diagonal. So we don't want the rib cage spilling out. You're gonna take a breath in. On the breath out, bending the elbow, rolling the shoulder down the spine until maybe the elbow touches the mat. Doesn't have to. Continue to press into your palm and lift the elbow off of the mat. Think about warming up your tricep. That's all we're really doing. And descending the shoulder blade on the spine. So just our little warm up, doing a few of these. Connect your pinky finger in the mat to get that extra push that we need to get to the top. And next time you're on your forearm, stay on your forearm, but you can bring it forward. So something to lean on, you can make a hand in the mat or a fist. Take your top hand behind your head and lean your head back into your hand. You can have your feet and your knees together, but we'll try it out to see if that's too challenging. So we take a breath in. It's like we're doing a side crunch. So arm is closer into your body. Press into the forearm. Inhale. Exhale, we're bringing the knees towards that elbow. Don't worry about not touching. Don't collapse in your shoulder like I'm doing. Roll it back. And we'll do 5 of these. If you want more of a challenge, the legs go long and the arm reaches on your inhale. Exhale, bending and squeezing. Inhale. So 3, 2, and 1. And drop your knees back down. Come onto your hand. Hold onto your shins and stretch that arm, stretch that tricep. Bend the elbow and let it hang. And we'll switch our sides. Doing that all on the other side. You can just roll over on your belly, but I'll turn so you can see me. So 2 long legs for this one. Ribs down, pelvis down. One arm is long. Press into your rib cage, your low back. Hand comes out in front of you. Always, if you need, you can bend your bottom leg. We're gonna try to press that leg into the mat like we've been doing our whole class. This time it's the side of our leg. We start lifting that leg up and down. So we'll point the toes on our way up. Flex the foot on the way down. So you're going at your rhythm if you prefer it really slow, or sometimes we need a little bit faster just to get things moving, things going on one side. And it helps your coordination to remember, point up, flex down. And if your neck and shoulders like to get involved, really tuck your chin and relax it down. Now get to your highest point, foot is flexed, and do a little pulses up and down. Make this about your glutes, so we can get high up for this one. Squeezing that navel into the spine, ribs are pressing down. Let's go for 2 more. Nice, now bend both of your knees. Find yourself again on the mat. The heels are gonna come together. And you're gonna replace the heel with the knee comes down, the heel comes up. I like hand on my hip for this one, finding the movement only in that hip and not by rolling back and forth. So heel comes down, they press together, knees come down, heel lift as much as it can, resistance on the outside and on the inside. Let's go for 3. So if there's any of these that you like when you're at home, and you can kind of just repeat as many until you feel that burn and then a little bit past that burn without going too crazy, but you definitely want to target one muscle at a time. Really nice. You can tap it out. Use your top hand to come up. Do the same thing. The hand barely comes to the mat. We really want weight in this hand to make sure that we're training the back of our arm. Shoulder just tips up and then back. Squeeze the ribs in. We're active in our belly, and we'll do our waking up of our triceps. Breath in, push the palm. Breath out, just the elbow like an elevator comes down without the shoulder coming out, so without the shoulder and the ribs collapsing. Breath in, breath out, without rushing, the elbow comes down. I like to hold my ribs to make sure. Press the palm, pinky finger especially. Pull yourself back up. Good. Breath out. Good. Using the weight of your body. Sometimes that's all we need. Don't always need those extra weights to work, especially our arms. Okay, one more. Next time we're down, stay down. You're on your forearm. The forearm is now underneath the shoulder. Press as you need all the way into the palm or the fist. You're gonna take your hands behind your head, bring your knees in a little bit closer and find a spot on your hip that you can stay on. You're gonna take a breath in, breath out. The knees are coming into the side towards the elbow, so you're also crunching in. If you want the challenge, press like crazy into your bottom arm. Inhale, the legs go long. Exhale, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, and 2 more. Use your whole body without letting that shoulder collapse. Breath in. I lost count. I think this is it. Breath out. Good. Heels come down. Hold on to one of your shins and stretch the other arm up. So we'll finish off coming onto one side. So kind of like in between a side plank and where we just were. We want one of the knees in the center of the mat, your other leg long, one hand to the mat, but keep all of these 3 things in one line and reach this arm over your head. So I can take the hand behind the head to have the elbow wide. We'll squeeze the belly in. So here there's a big inclination to arch. Let's squeeze that belly in and see if you can lift your leg off of the mat, but push like you're going out of your head. So it's our big challenge here. We're gonna press into your bottom hand and your bottom shin, kick your leg forward, point the toes and kick it back. If you need your hand on your hip or just anywhere else, but this is the most challenging, squeezing the ribs in, point the toes forward, flex your foot and kick it back. Or sorry, the opposite, flex it forward, point the toes, kick it back. Make sure, let's do one more. Flex it, kick it forward, point the toes, kick it back. Do tiny circles, 3, 2, 1. The other way. 3, 2, 1. Drop your foot down, coming into our side plank. So we know this well. Either the feet are stacked on top of each other or staggered. Reach the other arm high. Breathe in. We just hold it, breathing out. 1 more. Inhale. Good. And exhale. Coming into our plank, stacking shoulders in line with your wrists, heels in line with your toes. So your head is higher than your rib cage, but your rib cage is higher than your bum. Point your toes, bring the chest forward. Flex your toes, push and bring your chest back. 2 more like that. Breathe in and breathe out. Last one, breathe in and breathe out. We'll switch our sides and then we're done. Taking your knee down to the mat. Kick one leg out to the side. Challenge yourself with the hand right underneath the shoulder. Pull your hips so they stack. Pull your shoulders so they stack. Bring one hand behind your head. Bring that leg up. You're gonna flex the foot. The crease is coming from your hips. Pull it forward. Not much else is moving. Point the toes and kick it back. Flex the foot. Bring it forward. Point your toes. Kick it back. 3 more. Last one. Push everything off the mat. Flex the foot. Kick it forward. Point the toes. Kick it back. Take that foot down. Find your side plank from here. Stacking your feet. Pushing your hips up. Ribs away from the mat. Reach your top arm. Holding for 2 and 1. Into your plank pose. Do the same thing on your hands, on your feet. Belly lower than your ribs. Head a little bit higher. Point your toes. Lean forward. Heels back. And last one. Heels come back. Come onto your knees, one knee at a time. Have a seat down onto your heels. Hold onto your knees. Round your spine. Let your head fall. And interlace your hands behind your back. Pull the shoulder blades back. Soften the elbows. Keep your head dropping. Your forehead coming down towards your knees, rounding in. And then kind of stretching out all that abdominal wall that we just used. Just take your fingertips by your sides or behind you and pull your hips up, open up the belly, maybe let your head hang. 3 deep breaths here. Stretching the hip flexors, the ribs. When you're done, coming into a tall spine one more time. And thank you so much for joining me. So I'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.